Hello, my friends. How are you?
Hello,
Are you
hello.
there?
Yes, yes.
Y'all are so funny. Hey, we are gathered here to talk a little bit about volunteers, and so how they're kind of the lifeblood of what we do at the HR Florida State Council, as well as um, kind of what our volunteers do, and then kind of why we need volunteers. So, hey, Renee, I'm going to pick on you, and we didn't practice beforehand because we were just on another call. But tell me, why do you volunteer?
I actually get a lot of good energy and career, professional, and personal development and fulfillment out of my volunteerism. I've met the most amazing friends and colleagues and future employers through my volunteerism. I've actually never had to apply directly for a job. It's all been through great networking. So I can tell you it's had a significant return on investment in addition to the intrinsic reward of just meeting great people.
Yeah. What about you, Tanya?
Well, I feel volunteerism should be something that you enjoy, or else why do it? And so I love giving back to others. I just get such a lot. I get so much energy from it, and so it's like the ultimate marriage, right? I'm volunteering because I love to give back, and then it's to the profession which I love dearly. So I do it because I enjoy it.
Very cool. Well, I kind of skipped over introductions, so we'll do those first. So, tonight joining us, we have Renee Hood. Renee currently serves as the secretary for the HR Florida State Council. And so, as part of your role, you oversee our council support services, chairs, and directors. Tell us a little bit about your day job, Renee.
By day, I work at First Watch Restaurants, and I am the corporate HR director. And any minute I can squeeze in some extra time. As you said, I'm supporting the council with some amazing friends and colleagues.
Well, very cool. Thank you for. I think it's just a general rule that it's. I heard the quote one time: if you wanted something done, if you want something done, ask a busy person. And we find that volunteers are often the busiest people, right? Even if you don't have helium hands, you're just raising your hands all the time. You're still quite busy. So, thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Tanya Von Patterson serves the HR Florida State Council as our conference director. Right now, you are up to your eyeballs in conference, being just over a little over a week away, and all of those details. And so, as part of your responsibility, you wrangle the team who brings the conference to life. So, thank you for that. Tell us what you do in your day life.
All right. So my day life, I am a talent partner for the U.S. and Canada at Otis Elevator. And so that is, I mean, it just marries so well again with my volunteer work. I get to help others develop, grow, and learn, and I absolutely love it.
Very cool. My name
Um,
is Troy Clements. I get the opportunity to serve as the HR Florida State Council Vice President. As part of my role, I get to oversee our core leadership areas. And so we'll be talking about all the areas that we serve today. And in my day job, I get to serve as an HR director for Sunlight Solutions. We are a remote first technology firm. So we literally have employees around the globe. And it keeps me on my toes because I have team members in 9 different time zones. So as you can imagine, it gets a little crazy sometimes. So cool. Well, hey, Renee, you want to give us a quick overview of the HR Florida State Council for people who aren't aware what the council is and what we do?
Sure. Thank you. The council is comprised of about 60 to 61 SHRM volunteer leaders. To be a member of our council, you do need to be a SHRM member in good standing and affiliated with a local chapter. That's the whole idea, is to engage and enhance that relationship in the power of networking. And it's comprised of one section of members that change periodically, actually 1 to 2 years. It's all of our chapter presidents. So during their term as a chapter president, they serve on the council and are voting members. And then we have our executive committee that's comprised of our president and all those traditional roles you'd expect: vice president, president-elect, secretary, treasurer, and Tanya is our conference director. And then we also have council support directors, And those are the individuals that are working kind of behind the scenes. So primarily my team, where we're handling external communications, we're handling all the awards and recognition for the council. We're making sure all the technology is working behind the scenes. And then we have some great positions that we're kind of known for being a little different, such as innovation and analytics. And also we publish a digital newsletter monthly, as well as a almost quarterly magazine, and we have a blog. So it keeps us all very busy. And then we have our registration guru that handles all of the registration for these meetings. And then the last component would be what we consider our CLAs. And those that are familiar with SHRM and all of the major focus areas for the chapters, it is our core leadership areas. So think membership, certification, legislative, and all those key areas of SHRM that we also provide at a state level, all the support to the chapters. And so that makes all of us, and it's a big happy party. We get together 4 times a year. So being part of it does include travel and connecting in person.
Yeah. One of the things I think that is cool about volunteering with the council is we have all of the positions you just described, and we're going to go into a greater detail in just a few minutes. But we also have opportunities for people who don't necessarily have the time to commit to a full-time volunteer role, or kind of want to dip their toe in the water, right? Like, I want to see what it's about and I want to help out. Tanya, can you talk a little bit about micro volunteering opportunities that we have? And
Sure.
I did not preface that, so I'm going to throw it your way. But like on your team specifically, do you have opportunities outside of the traditional conference team roles for people to serve in a micro volunteer capacity?
Sure. So we treasure those micro volunteer roles. So those are roles, like Troy said, that they aren't like official roles like on the conference team, but they help out tremendously. And we normally call them committee members. And it's also a way to help us build our pipeline. So we rely on people that raise their hand and say, I don't have a lot of time, but I want to give back in some capacity. So it may be like we had people this year that raised their hand to help review program submissions for the conference, or it may be helping out with, I don't know, social media, making posts and things like that. So there's so many opportunities where you can get involved in just a little bit if you don't have the time to go all in.
Very cool.
Mhm.
So we are live tonight. If you are watching, go ahead and drop a note in the chat there. Tell us kind of like maybe where you're from and what your favorite kind of, I don't know, pie is. We'll see what kind of responses we get, and then we'll have time to think of our own responses there. But as we're here tonight, for those that are interested in roles with the executive committee, we did a webinar, I believe, 2 weeks ago. If you go back through our social media channels, you can find the presentation there. But this one tonight is focused specifically on our core leadership areas and our council support and our conference team members. And so, Renee, I'm going to start with you. You have council support services. And I do want to preface that even though we have people in any of these roles currently, life changes. And so even if we aren't currently recruiting for a specific role, but it's something you're interested in, reach out to us. Let us know, because you never know when a vacancy will pop up. And it's easier when we have a list of people, both for roles as well as some micro volunteering opportunities to go, hey, would you be interested in helping out? So wanted to preface with that. But hey, let's start. You have a director of analytics and innovation. What do they do, and kind of what's that position all about?
That's a great one to start with. In the alphabet too, analytics. So Dr. Shelley, I wish she was here. Maybe she is on the call, just to share a little bit about what she does. She's a brilliant HR professional and practitioner, and also kind of a data science, I guess, behind the scenes. And she wears a special cape, and she is really, her role was developed to help our chapters. There's a lot of data out there about membership and the communities that we serve from a chapter perspective, but sometimes we don't always understand what drives membership, what drives engagement, what programs they're looking for, just to maintain relevancy. And so Dr. Shelley supports the chapters in those endeavors. She can develop surveys, she can help interpret data, and then she's always helping us stay on the cutting edge of programming and other initiatives that we can offer as a council so that we continue to be a great advocate for all the things SHRM and all the things that HR is looking for.
Yeah, that role is kind of one of our newer additions to the council. It kind of really, in the last couple of years, kind of we're seeing the influence of data, right? We use it in our day jobs, but we haven't always used it in running our councils or our local chapters, or running our local chapters. And so that one's really kind of helped us out, even from, if you want a heat map of where your local chapter members are from, that role is the one who would help you figure those kinds of things out. And so hugely influential role within the council. Let's move on. Director of Awards and Recognition.
Yes. So right now that role is in busy mode because we are going to make some great presentations at our upcoming annual conference. We're recognizing HR Professional of the Year, and then the council selects someone who has been working so hard and being recognized as a Volunteer of the Year. But our current volunteer, Cindy Rooks, has done a fabulous job pulling together all the criteria for the recognition. And if you're interested, we have a lot of those details on our website, but we have a Spirit of Patriotism Award. We recognize our chapters for innovative things that they're doing at the local level. And we just, pull all this under one umbrella, in addition to some great scholarships that are funded by our state council and administered by SHRM. So if you or anyone in your network is looking for an opportunity to get your certification or pursue your graduate or undergraduate degree, those are also scholarships that fall under the awards and recognition portfolio of activities.
Certifications are so important. And so our ability to kind of support that. Both, I think I said undergrad and grad degrees are in there. But HR Professional of the Year, that's a really cool award that we award annually. You can nominate yourself, you can nominate someone else. Nominations for this year have closed, but we'll reopen next summer. And kind of the deadline is early summer for those.
Yes, I think it was June 30th was our cutoff date.
Awesome, cool. I'm going to save the next one on the list for last because that one I think is a little more in depth. But talk to me kind of about registrar, kind of what makes a good registrar.
This is a great role for someone who loves the behind the scenes volunteerism and really just works well with platforms where we actually handle all of our registration. There are some creative elements to it as well, because you are teeing up different events in a platform that we use called Cvent. It's probably a platform familiar to many who are in the event space, and just making sure that those events are open in time for our council volunteers, as well as, registrations for our actual annual conference, and just monitoring those, being there to answer any questions. In some cases, it's as granular as collecting dietary restrictions and reporting all that up, and then being there on site to actually check people in and just being that smiling face at the door.
Such a critical role. Yes. Social media, earlier this year, we kind of had a little hiccup on the council in finding the right social media person. We found someone who's currently in that role, but tell us a little bit more about that role and what makes it unique.
Social media is such a critical communication channel for us, and we actually maintain quite a number of them. We're on all the things, including YouTube. And this role is someone who really enjoys being resourceful and creative, using things that are going to grab attention, because if you're on social media and we're one of the folks that you follow, we really appreciate that. But we also want to make sure that the content we deliver is relevant to you as an HR practitioner, or even just fun things to engage further with the council. And so it's all about maintaining relevancy, getting those deadlines out for certain awards, and giving good content and things you can use in your job as an HR practitioner as well. Heather is currently serving in that capacity and just doing a wonderful role, adapting very quickly. If you've seen things that have been posted over the last couple months, you can give all the credit to her. But we also have support from behind the scenes. We use a platform called Hootsuite to help tee those items up, so you don't have to go to each individual platform. You can actually schedule things well in advance, so you don't have to be on it every single day. So it's not overly taxing if you're a person who can maybe dedicate weekend time or a couple times a week. But it's all about just staying engage with what's going on in the council so that we can report out on those things in a timely manner and making sure that that our followers are getting good content.
Yeah, I think that's critical. And I think what, as I've been talking to volunteers, we have seen that a lot of times our volunteers are serving in areas that aren't their primary work area. You know, we have our roles at work and then we have our volunteer roles, and often they're completely different. So I love that we give the opportunity to learn something new in addition to helping out. So that's really cool. I wanted to finish with you with, we have communications and our web administrator. I kind of lump them together, even though they're completely separate. They do work hand in hand. So talk a little bit about that.
They are kind of two peas in a pod because they have to work very synergistically together. Alan is currently serving as our communications director, and so he is the that Wizard of Oz behind the green curtain that is making sure that all of the communications you see, from a digital monthly magazine to the actual magazine that we publish, are put together with him. He is not writing the content, so I don't want anyone to feel scared about considering this position. He is a collector of content, and obviously going through and making sure that we create a logical theme if we're putting out a magazine, that we reach out to those who want to provide content and give them that space to do that. Working very closely with the publisher. We work with someone who actually publishes our magazine, and they assist us in gathering sponsorship and advertising for the magazine. So there's a lot of moving parts. There's multiple proofing sessions and art design meetings and things like that. But if it's someone who really wants to get to know what it's like to put together a magazine, whether it's a digital or paper, this is a great opportunity. You don't have to be a publisher. You just have to have an interest in the written word and understanding your audience.
Yeah, here's another shout out for micro volunteering. We're always looking for articles in our communications pieces, so both in the newsletter and the HR Florida Review. If you're interested in writing an article on any topic related to HR, we want to hear from you. Like, this is a way to get published and kind of see your name in print. And so that's kind of an exciting opportunity there. So cool, thank you. And then what about our web administrator?
Oh, thank you for reminding me. So we actually did completed a facelift of the HR Florida website. So if you've not visited in a little while, I encourage you to take a quick peek at some of the new design features, and hopefully it's a lot more user-friendly. We're working always behind the scenes. I don't think it's ever really done. And Kathy has been just such a gift to the council in terms of making sure that all of the individuals that have content to provide have a good page and that their bios are updated. It's the space that we want people to go to when they want to know about what's happening with HR Florida. This is kind of our place where everyone can meet and greet and find out what events are happening, not only that are sponsored directly by the council, but all of our chapters. There's a great calendar that I would encourage you to visit. And all those items are updated by our web administrator. This role also manages all of our emails, because there are emails that are administered or donated, given to council members so we can stay in communication with each other. And then she, the person in this role right now, is the person who handles all those inbox questions and making sure that those questions are routed to the right council member for quick responses. So there's a lot going on there. And it's again, a job that's never really done, because you want to make sure that your website is up to date, again, relevant, content is accurate. And so it's one of those things that she's looking at all the time. And it's also another opportunity for a micro volunteer, because it's a big job. And we can always, take volunteers that are willing to help and maybe take a shift for Kathy once in a while and provide some additional support.
Yeah, many hands make light work. Yeah. So here, let me throw this up. For anybody interested in any of these volunteer positions that you're hearing us reference, you can go to our website, hrflorida.org, click on About Us and Volunteer Opportunities. It shows all of the positions we're talking about, in addition to some that we're not talking about. And then down at the bottom, there's a place for you to express your interest. I would say, if you're interested, do it soon, as we're really starting to look at what 2025 looks like, and kind of how we're filling some positions that we know we're opening. as well as creating some of those committees to help support these teams that are doing this important work on a regular basis. So cool, thank you for that. I'm going to let you talk about well-being too. Technically, we moved well-being under me, but I see it's on you on the website, so I'm going to let you talk about well-being. Go ahead.
Okay, well, we as a council had made the decision several years ago to create this position, and a little thing called COVID-19 came up a few years ago, and thankfully we already had this position in play. The idea was to support the HR individuals that are supporting their organizations. We want to make sure that we put the oxygen mask on ourselves first. So there's great content that's put out. If you follow our social channels, you'll see Wellness Wednesday. You'll have the opportunity, hopefully, to connect at a local chapter where Kim has been speaking very generously on the topic of wellness. And then we always have sessions at the annual conference that are related to overall wellness. So it's a big initiative for us. We were one of the first state councils, I believe, maybe the very first one to create this position. And it's definitely been a differentiator. Every time that Kim is speaking at a local chapter, people come up and talk about how appreciative they are for this opportunity to really be real as HR practitioners, because it can be a draining profession, even though it is very rewarding. We want to make sure we continue to refill our own bucket. And that's what this position is all about, is making sure we take care of ourselves.
Yeah, it's such an important role as we talk about things like burnout and mental health and psychological safety in the workplace. All of those topics fall under well-being. So important work going on there. I wanted to share a few comments here. Marty, her favorite pie is apple, which if you know Marty Bryson, you automatically know that apple pie is top of the list. I won't say that Marty selects restaurants based on whether or not they serve apple pie, but Marty Bryson does select restaurants based on whether or not they serve apple pie. Stephanie, Norman, key lime cake and pie, can't go wrong. That's a good selection. Carrie Ann, thank you. From Winter Haven, part of Mid Florida SHRM. Shout out to Mid Florida SHRM. Chocolate mousse pie, can't go wrong with that either. All of those are good. I have a feeling there will be pie for dessert tonight somewhere. Cool.
Troy, what is your favorite pie?
My pie is key lime. You can't go wrong with key lime, especially if it's just got that perfect tart. It's pretty epic. What about yours?
Coconut cream all the way.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And Tanya?
Apple pie, a la mode, though. Warm.
Yeah. Now, do you like a crumbly top or do you like the pastry top that's crisp?
Crumbly top.
Crumbly top. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay. All of them are delicious. I've not turned too many pieces of pie down in my life, so except for maybe strawberry rhubarb, and that's directed toward chat. But we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Cool. Wanted to quick give you a rundown of our core leadership areas. Ladies, jump in if I forget something because I'm doing multiple things at once. But certification, our certification role is really responsible for making sure that all of our programs are certified. We want to, certification is important. Certification is not easy to achieve. For anybody who's gone through the process, you know you earned that. And so we want to be able to help you keep that. And so our certification director, the one part of their job is to make sure that all of our presentations are certified. If you're coming to the state conference next week, I think we're certified for 17 hours, Tanya.
Yes.
That's 17 hours. So if you come to your conference 3 years in a row, 17 and 17 and 17 is a lot. That's almost all of the hours that you need for your recertification cycle. So we're proud that we're able to present that. That, along with our other conferences, will push you over the hours that you need to recertify. So plug in with us, plug in with your local chapter, get certified. The other thing our certification director does is promote certifications and the importance of certifications and showing the value. I know that people take you a little differently, a little more serious when you have those letters behind your name that show you know what you're talking about and you've used it in practice. So that would be a good role for somebody who likes analytical thinking, because oftentimes it's manipulating. As a speaker, I send you what I'm going to talk about, and then you have to formulate that into a cohesive thought for our certifying agencies. Sometimes that's a little easier than others, but you kind of learn the ins and outs. So that's a good role for somebody who likes those analytic kind of problem solving things. Our college relations director, I'm going to put college relations and emerging professionals. We've broken them apart, but they kind of go after similar markets. Those just entering the workforce or those preparing to enter the workforce. College relations is exactly what you think it would be, working with our local education providers to make sure that they're aware of the opportunities that we have here at HR Florida State Council, both in SHRM and then promoting the profession. And then our emerging professionals, Georgette's done an amazing job of really kind of creating an on-ramp for those who have 1 to 3 years of experience. Some of them have just come out of college. Some of them have changed mid-career. I don't know about you all. I did not start in HR. I started in an operations role and transitioned into HR. And so I didn't follow the traditional path of going to school for HR and then pursuing that as a career. So emerging professionals would have really helped me when I was going through the process. Legislative affairs. Legislative affairs affects us all, and we often think we're in the middle of a presidential election right now, and that's important. But what's even more important is figuring out on the state and local level what's going on in your local community. And so we have some folks who are dedicated to both creating an advocacy role and promoting what's going on and promoting our workforce to our local legislators. But we really want to equip our members and those who are part of HR Florida. If you're part of any of the local chapters in Florida, if you're an HR professional in the state of Florida, we know that there's more than 16,000 HR professionals affiliated with SHRM inside Florida. We know, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, that there's over 77,000 people in the state of Florida with some type of HR function. And they may not have HR in their title, they may not be a member of SHRM, but they're still part of that group. And so our legislative affairs group, they want to equip you to be able to talk about workforce issues with our legislators. Oftentimes, I used to think, oh, I could never pick up the phone and call my legislator because A, they don't want to hear from me, but B, what would I talk to them about? And so our team really kind of breaks that down. And so we do that, and then we produce a legislative conference every spring. We do that on both the local, from a legislative affairs perspective, we do both local and federal. And so reach out if you're interested in either of those roles. We've got some definite micro volunteering opportunities there. Membership is exactly what you think it would be. We know the benefits of being in a group. We know the benefits of being in a room together. We were one of the first organizations back when Renee mentioned it first, so I'm going to bring up again when COVID hit back in 2020. We were one of the first organizations nationwide who still brought people together. We did it safely. We did it with social distancing, but we felt it was important for everyone to be in the same room. There's a magic that occurs when you're part of a group who believes the way you do. And so membership is really about promoting membership, both within our local chapters, as well as SHRM. If you're a member of SHRM, you have incredible resources at your fingertips. If there's a question you don't know the answer to, or you answered the question one time, you did a business process one time 10 years ago, and now you have to do it again, you have people you can pick up the phone and call, and they'll help you through it, which is really awesome. The SHRM Foundation, as we talked about awards and recognition earlier, our foundation leader has two-fold purposes. Well, they're there to help us raise funds to provide ongoing support for the initiatives that we have. But the second part with the foundation is to tell you about those resources, right? To promote the scholarships and the opportunities available. The SHRM Foundation does amazing research that is available to all of our members, and so helps create that conduit and facilitate the discussion of that. But also raises money. So if you've ever participated in a, what do we call them? Auction? No, silent auction. Raffle. There we go. That's a better word for it. Thank you. We can go with that. A raffle at the state conference or in your local chapter. We know that all of our local chapters raise funds for both local initiatives as well as the SHRM Foundation. And so thank you for participating in that. And then lastly, we have workforce readiness. Workforce readiness is exactly what you think it would be. And it kind of is in our wheelhouse. You know, we're HR professionals. We want to get people back to work. Oftentimes it feels overwhelming sometimes, especially if we're looking for that one special person and it's a unique position and we can't find a person to help fill that role. We have tools and resources to create specialized training and we have incredible relationships with workforce development agencies throughout the state. And so to create opportunities, to create some onboarding ramps for people who might not be ready to be employed, to get them employed, as well as opportunities for advancing employment. We all generally start at the bottom and work our way up. Hopefully we don't stay at the bottom. And kind of what separates from the people at the bottom and from the top is generally training and experience. And so, if we can create opportunities for candidates and employees to get that experience, we know that it will help them in the long run. That was my quick. I talked, I think, just for 10 minutes without taking much of a breath. Did I cover it all?
I think so. It might be worth noting that we have been the top giving council for the SHRM Foundation for, are we 7 or 8 years in a row now? I've lost track. There's been so many years in a row.
That's a good point.
So it comes with, keeping us at the number one slot.
But we are really a competitive
donations.
We are a competitive bunch. And I think that's so true. And it's so important because we know where the money goes. We know that it goes to creating opportunities through scholarships. It goes through information with education. It gets us all of those things. And so it's really, I'm really proud of the work the foundation is doing. And, we're going for either 8 or 9. I was waiting for somebody to see if they'd pop it in the chat. But we're going to go for 8 or 9. 9 out of the past 10 is what Phyllis has posted. So,
hey, Troy, one thing I'll mention too, I would hope that people would want to know this as well. These positions don't come with a just jump in the deep end of the pool kind of situation. We actually provide and host at no charge to participants a leadership conference, and it's a 2-day training opportunity, and we bring all of the experts that have done this role before at the state level, sometimes chapter levels, and it's like a regular conference. We have keynotes, we have breakout sessions, we have networking, and so I just really feel like if it's something that you're interested in, you've already connected with your chapter, really think about the fact that this opportunity will come with some support. And you'll always have someone to lean on. You won't have to just learn it from scratch.
That's a great point. And even though these roles are kind of specific to the council, most of our chapters have an equivalent role on the local level. So even if you're like, hey, I'm really new to this or really kind of want to do it, make sure you're plugging in with your local chapter. I know that my local chapter is still looking at some board volunteers for 2025. And so I know that most of our chapters are in that position now. Great thought. Kind of to finish up tonight, I wanted to talk about the conference team. This is a group. How many people do you have on your conference team, Tanya?
19.
19. So 19 people who will put together a conference that will have close to 2,000 attendees or more, with a significant. It was funny. I was at an event this week, and where the entire staff was paid, right? And that's what they do is they produce conferences. And I look at our conference and what we're able to do, and because of the talent that we have through our speakers and the commitment of our team to produce an event, I'd go to our event anytime over some of these other ones that we're seeing. So thank you for what you're doing as a conference director. But wanted to talk a little bit about roles. And once again, just because somebody's in a role now doesn't mean they're going to be in that role next year. And so kind of take us through some of the roles that you have on the conference team.
Oh, sure, sure. So, like you said, it is really, I want to say, it's such an honor, really, to work with such a group of committed individuals. Like you said, all volunteer, and the work that they do is just amazing. Like we start conference planning for the next year, roughly like 15 months out. And so to have that dedication throughout that time is nothing short of just miraculous. So we have like 5 teams, and we divide the conference team into 5 teams. And so we have our sponsor exhibitor team, and they are comprised of 4 individuals who they love dealing with people, love building relationships, because that's what it's all about. Our sponsors are support the conference, and so we need them to come. So these individuals, they understand the mission of the council as a whole, and then what we're trying to accomplish with the conference. So they're able to get out there in our communities and talk to potential sponsors, vendors, or the organizations that are willing to go all in and just support us in what we're doing. So it really takes people that they like talking to people, and they don't mind making cold calls or just getting out there and getting making HR Florida known. So there's 4 individuals on that team. Then we have the operations team. So the operations team has several individuals on that that make up that team. So we have the registrar, is one of them. And so they're responsible for just like really like Renee said, but on a different level. So dealing with the conference, so working with the numbers and making sure our we have reporting capabilities on who's attending, what's going on with that. And then we have the operations chair, which is responsible really for like the facilities, our hotel room blocks, food and things like that. Then we have the charity chair. So the charity chair is really responsible for identifying an organization or charity for us to support. Those of you that are familiar, every year for the conference, we've identified an organization to support. This year, just a little plug, we don't have a specific organization. We listen to the voices of our chapter members and leaders. And so this year we have a campaign, HR Hearts in Action, in which we're really showcasing and spotlighting the good work that the chapters and their members are doing out in our communities where they live and work. Then we have the SHRM Foundation, which is a dual role. So it's also part of the core leadership area, but they're a member of the conference team as well. So during the conference, they're responsible for setting up that amazing event where people can submit for volunteer, to, not volunteer, but submit to participate in the raffle to win some amazing prizes and baskets and purses, everything that we have to support the SHRM Foundation. So that's all of the operations team. And then we have the programs team. So the programs team, on average for the conference, we get over 400 submittals for people to speak at the conference. So they're responsible for reviewing these programs and making sure that we have things that are relevant, that you want to hear about, you want to learn more about. And so, like Troy mentioned earlier about the micro opportunities, this is a team that would have that. So we actually had support this year from our district directors. They raised their hands to help review all of these amazing programs so we could pick the best ones for our attendees. And then we have the chapter marketing team, and these are 2 individuals that they are our direct contact to our chapters. So they engage the chapters in different campaigns and contests, and just helping to get the members excited about the conference and getting them involved. So that's that team. And then the last team is the general session team. And that team is responsible for creating that experience that you have when you come to the general session. So they're in the process of finalizing that now, and it's going to be amazing.
I think, did you mention volunteers?
Oh, I did. Oh my gosh, I
That's
didn't.
okay. I was like, was I not paying attention?
No, so this is all from memory. And so I
Okay.
have two more things that I need to mention or I'd be remiss. So the volunteers and Stephanie. Stephanie, I'm telling you, I'll mention Stephanie in a minute, but volunteer chair, that she's part of the programs, excuse me, the operations team, and she was responsible for getting the amazing volunteers that we need in order to make this event successful. So we need volunteers to greet you and just do all kinds of things at the conference, and we couldn't do it without them. And last but certainly not least is the conference chair. And so that is my right hand, which this year it is Stephanie Norman. And Stephanie has been amazing. And so she is there, like Troy said, we're all volunteers. So when my day job calls and I'm not able to do things, Stephanie steps in and she just handles it and makes it smooth, makes it work like magic. Stephanie also mentioned the webmaster. See, she. I'm telling you, everyone needs a Stephanie in their life or someone, yes, that works beside them to make sure that they don't fall, right? And so I'm forever grateful to her. So I forgot the social media chair, which is really what I wanted to say because we have an opening right now. So, like Troy said, if you're interested, you social media is really important. Marketing is really important to the conference. And so this individual was, of course, they need to have a presence on social media, but it's getting our name out there, getting our brand out there, and getting excitement again about the conference up. So if you're interested, please submit your volunteer inquiry on our website. And then Stephanie put down webmaster, but that's really under Renee. Kathy is really under Renee, but she does support us and sends us information if we have inquiries about the conference and what have you. So I think I covered everything, everyone. Stephanie will definitely let me know if I forgot.
One more that I'm going to throw out is we do have separate registrars for the council and for the conference. So we do have a separate registrar who focuses specifically on conference, and it's an amazingly complex role. That one, if you're really good with numbers and have quite a bit of time to dedicate to the program, that's the one to be for you. But if you're interested in any of these roles, hrflorida.org, click on About Us and go to volunteer opportunities. Stephanie said, "Don't forget Terry."
Oh,
But
I
Stephanie,
know, I
we're not
know.
allowed to mention Terry because Terry has threatened us. The HR Florida State Council has one paid employee. We're able to do all of this through volunteers and one person who just pretty much handles contracts and making sure that we stay legal. And so that's kind of her role with us. And she does an amazing role, but she will take no credit for anything. So this is her credit
Yeah,
for that.
I call her she's an exceptional project manager, right?
She is amazing from all the things that we throw at her to what to the support she gets. She just she's been our our employee of the year for the last I think 8 years. And she is our only employee, so there's that. But we don't get into semantics here. Ladies, thank you for joining us. I'm going to throw our names back up there. If you're not connected with us on LinkedIn, reach out to us. We'd love to connect with you. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can find our contact information at the HR Florida website. Before we go, the last question for tonight, Renee, I asked this to our team last week, but if you weren't in HR, what would you be doing?
Oh my goodness. I actually started my educational career in education. I was going to be a high school English teacher. Who would have thought?
Nope, not happening for me. That's cool. So what changed from being a high school English teacher to HR?
I started going to schools and I was, 20 something years old and seeing, the dynamics of what that life would be. And it just felt like I could give in a different way. We'll just leave it at that.
Help out in other ways. Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Tanya? If you weren't in HR, what would you be doing?
Oh gosh, and I didn't have to have a full-time job. I'd be a DJ.
DJ. See, I have learned so much about people just by asking that question because I could totally see you being a DJ and, uh, mixing it up. Uh, awesome. Well, we've kind of come to the end of our time. Hopefully, you've learned a little something about us and learned a little something about the council. If you have any questions, as I said, don't hesitate to reach out. That's why we're here. And if you have, hopefully, we will see many of you at conference in just a few short days from now. We're 10 days, I think, out is what we're at right now.
Exactly. And plug. Thank you, Carrie Ann, for volunteering. I see she's volunteering here. Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
We couldn't do the conference we talk about the council being run by volunteers, but we couldn't do it without. I think we have close to 175 conference volunteers that come together for those few days and help us out. Another micro volunteering opportunity. So thank you, Carrie Ann. With that, any final words, Renee, Tanya?
No, if there are people on the call and they haven't registered for the conference, it's not too late. We'd love to have you there. I'd be remiss if I didn't say it, right?
I know. I threw it up here, hrfloridaconference.org. And I bet if you emailed Tanya today, she'd probably send you a discount code. You can probably find one in her back pocket. I'm not, not guaranteeing anything. I'm just telling you with a high probability, you could probably get a discount code. Cool. Well, with that, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. And once again, if you have any questions, reach out to us, let us know. We'd love to interact with you, and hopefully we see you in the volunteer hallways here at HR Florida. So with that, good night.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.